back to The Lead Word. This is your host, Trey Dalbert, along with me, as always, Chad Bauman. We are recording this currently on Sunday, June 23rd, around 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about some NBA draft stuff. But first, let's welcome in Chad. Chad, how we doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't really complain. Just a normal lazy Sunday, I guess.
All right, so let's get right into it. NBA free agency coming soon. I will be in London, Chad, so I'm going to miss all of free agency. It's going to be horrible. Not the London part, but the missing of free agency is going to be bad.
Well, they got cell phones and the internet in London. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but the site will be falling behind. That's all right. Anyway, check out the website, vendettasportsmedia.com, and let's get started here. Winners and losers of the 2019 NBA Draft. I'll get it started. Number one winner. This is easy. New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans are the winner because if you look back at previous drafts, I encourage everybody to do so. You get about 3 players in the whole draft that matter. One of them will probably be a top 5 pick. Another one will be picked in the 20s. Another one will be picked in the second round. Maybe 2 more in the lottery will make an all-star game. That's about all you get from the NBA draft. The safest player, the most impactful player, is Zion Williamson, and that's the reason New Orleans Pelicans won the draft. Case closed. End of story. Simple. No need to overanalyze it. Chad, would you like to weigh in?
For them, it was just a matter of don't screw it up, Just winning the first overall pick in the lottery and then being able to take Zion Williamson, that automatically just gives you a passing grade in your draft. You just have to not screw up every other pick. And, getting all the value and everything that they were able to turn that 4 that they got from the Lakers into was actually pretty big for them. I really liked what they did with that. And this is why last week when we recorded the show, I said, you don't know what plans they have for that 4 Trey. You don't know. That trade might turn into something really good for New Orleans, sending Anthony Davis out to L.A.
What I will say, I like the trade a little bit better. But should we bring up a bigger question, Chad? Are the Pelicans pussies for drafting Zion Williamson? Did they make the easy call? They went small balls on us, Only person with no balls takes Zion. It's too easy. Are they pussies for drafting him?
No, that's probably the dumbest question I've ever heard.
Are you stupid or something?
No, you gotta take
sarcastic.
That would be. That would be like Cleveland not taking LeBron, or.
I was joking.
I would hope so.
I will say I don't like all of the players they did pick. Jackson Hayes wasn't a top recruit. Why isn't Zion the center? I think he should be your center. I don't think there was a reason to pick a center. And Jahlil Okafor, I know he haunts your past a little bit, but he played awesome for the Pelicans last year. He was really good. Why can't he be your center? Or why can't you re-sign Julius Randle? Why can't Zion be the center? I didn't like them taking a center at 8. I didn't think it was a good decision.
Yeah, with that, though, I think them just taking Jackson Hayes was a little bit of taking the best guy there. I don't think there was that many people that were looking to move that either into the lottery at that point or move up in the lottery at that point. So I think for them it was just we just have to take the best guy here. If he sees meaningful minutes, he sees meaningful minutes, but he may end up in a trade package later down the line.
The other guy they picked, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Don't know a ton about him. And that was pretty much their draft. But the biggest thing, can't be stressed enough, these draft prospects, you get about 5 of them. Zion's one of them. Even if he's as good as Blake Griffin, he's still one of them. So the Pelicans, easy winner for me.
Yeah,
Chad, what do you got?
The Alexander Walker, who they got in a trade with the Nets,
That was part of the Hawks trade because the Hawks had that pick.
Yeah, he went to Virginia Tech. He shot 38% from three in college. He took about 300 or so attempts. He might have gone higher if he was a little bit more athletic.
Also related to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who turned out well for the Clippers, if that means anything.
He's not going to create his own shot, but if you get him open looks, he should be a knockdown shooter for you.
All right, Chad, winner number 1 for you. What do you got?
My first winner, and we're keeping it down south for this. I got Atlanta. I like what Atlanta did. They didn't really. I think moving up to get DeAndre Hunter was a little bold. He's a good 3-and-D guy. Going to bring championship pedigree for their team. The draft for them though was about adding around Trae Young. I like the Cam Reddish pick at number 10. Coming out of he was a guy on Duke. He can create offense for himself. He flashed his jumper a little bit sometimes when he was at Duke. And he can guard multiple positions. So I really like what Atlanta did here.
I really agree with you. I put them as a winner too. DeAndre Hunter is a guy who, I don't know, some players just mean the world. It seems like Hunter did. Virginia went from, when he was hurt, losing to a 16 seed to winning a national title. He's a really good two-way player. He's probably the best pure defender in the draft. He makes shots. He's going to be a starting wing for you immediately. Then you grab a really nice dart throw. I like the Cam Reddish pick. Sometimes that guy disappears, but sometimes he catches fire.
Yeah, but too, don't forget, he was riding the back of the bus behind R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson, so.
When he gets hot, he really gets hot too. I like this pick a lot. Even in the second round, nice little Maryland center, Bruno Fernando. He had some good moments. I like what they did a lot. And for Atlanta to move up in the draft, all they basically did was eat a bad contract in Solomon Hill because they had no business moving up for that price they paid. They gave away 8 and 17. That doesn't get you up to 4. So I thought they really did a nice job.
Yeah, the only knock on Cam Reddish, he struggles inside the arc sometimes, but still. I think he'll be a good 3-and-D player for Atlanta.
I think they're building a really nice team around Trae Young, too. I don't love the Trae Young trade, but now that you have 2 wings in Hunter and Reddish, along with the Young, hopefully Kevin Huerter turns into something. John Collins is a nice center. They're building a nice little team around this guy.
Oh, this is just too good.
Yeah.
They at least have a plan. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, they're going places. Who knows how fast they're going to get there, but they're going somewhere at least.
All right, that leads me to my second winner. And Chad, most of the time, you pick a team that has a first-round pick. I didn't do that. I picked a team that didn't have their first pick until 45. They drafted Oregon center Bol Bol, who I believe is the steal of the draft. Sometimes things that happen just don't make any sense. We see this a lot. The NBA misses on people. Fred VanVleet didn't get drafted. If you look at his draft class, he probably should, with what he's done, he's probably a top 5 pick. Didn't get drafted. Bol Bol is a top 5 talent in this draft. He didn't get drafted because there's a question about his toughness, motor, and injury. Well, if I put him in a good situation, why can't he pack on some pounds? Why can't he become stronger? Why can't we get him dialed in? The health is a concern, but if you're drafting a top 5 talent at 45 and you say, well, we couldn't take him because he's hurt. Well, Denver just did this a year ago with Michael Porter Jr. They sat him out the whole year. Now he's good to go. And they have another top 5 talent on their team with Michael Porter, they didn't have any business drafting him, but they said, you know what? We're picking so late, we might as well do it. To get Bol at 45, who shot 60% from the floor, he's a over 40% three-point shooter. He scores. He has a 7'7" wingspan. He's 7'3". He handles the ball like a guard. He can actually dribble and run.
They are who we thought they were.
How did this guy slide to 45? It makes no sense. No sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good pick because, I mean, think about it like this. There was a couple years in a row, though, where the Sixers took guys in the top 5 who were coming off of injured seasons. The Nuggets basically did the same thing. They just did it, in the second round. So,
when the Sixers took Joel Embiid was the best player in that draft. He just slid because, we can't risk the injury. Well, if he had to do it all over again, Joel Embiid's the best player in the draft. That's who you pick. If he gets injured, he gets injured.
Well, that's my point. He slid to 2, right? Like
3.
Right. Oh yeah, you're. I'm sorry. You're right. He slid. He slid to 2, or I'm sorry, to 3. But here's the thing. I mean, what the Nuggets did is no different than what the Sixers did when they took Joel Embiid. They just took their guy in the second round. If you could get Joel Embiid in the second round, you're telling me you're not going to be happy?
He kind of plays like Embiid. He's not as big. He's not as physical, but he's, 18? You're telling me he can't pack on pounds? He can't gain weight? He can't get in the weight room? To me, this didn't make any sense. He was the number 3 recruit in the country. He had the second best player efficiency rating this year. How is this guy going in the second round?
I don't know.
Didn't make any sense.
I think the only thing keeping him out of the weight room is maybe the door's just not big enough. I don't know.
Denver's going to get their hands on this kid. Even if they sit him out the whole year, say, look, we know that you're talented. What we're going to do is we're going to get you big, tough, and nasty. And you're going to block shots like Rudy Gobert, who he's the exact same size as, but he handles the ball and can shoot. Rudy Gobert, that can shoot, that's a very good player. The fact that this guy went in the second round made no sense. And think about this. With Embiid, Milwaukee took Jabari Parker, that too. What does Milwaukee look like if they have Embiid right now? The Cleveland Cavaliers took Andrew Wiggins 1, who everybody knew wasn't better than Embiid, and they played together. What does Cleveland look like with Embiid during that LeBron run? Made no sense. Denver, congratulations, you won the draft. You might have won the draft last year, too. And they're already a scary team. Chad, winner number 2 for you. What do you got?
I have to go with the Grizzlies. I like what they did in the draft. Fortunate enough, they got the number 2 pick. They took Ja Morant. Could have been the best player in the draft if it wasn't for the fact that Zion Williamson was in this draft. Yeah, I mean, there are some concerns, about his jumper, turnovers, and his defensive ability. But again, I think a lot of, defensive ability, turnovers, he's 19 years old, so those things can be learned, And, it's not like the Grizzlies are in win-now mode because obviously they're picking number 2. So he's got time to learn. Does have some big shoes to fill, following behind Mike Conley. And then with their second pick, I like the Brandon Clark pick because I know the knock on him is that he doesn't really have a shot, but they have Jaren Jackson Jr., so that's a really good pairing for them. Jaren Jackson, he can shoot outside a little bit. So with Clark, he was talked about at one point being a potential fit with Minnesota at number 11 because of how well he would have paired with Karl Anthony Towns. Again, Jackson fits his weakness of not being able to really shoot a jumper, but he'll get a lot of rebounds, a lot of putback buckets offensively. And the defensive pairing between Clark and Jackson, that's going to be a tough matchup. He has a great basketball IQ on defense. So does Jackson, and I think it's going to be a tough duo. And they basically, and again, going back to Philly, they basically made the same trade that Philly made with Boston, except they only really gave up 1 second rounder for it.
All right, Chad. I'm glad you mentioned Memphis because every fanboy, every media member, I can't find one person that has anything negative to say about Memphis. But I'm the first person that's going to sit here and say something negative about Memphis because in what world are the Memphis Grizzlies fans celebrating today?
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Let's break this down. At number 2, you draft John Morant. Great. Then the graphic comes up. It says his favorite player is Russell Westbrook. That's not a good thing. If I'm a Grizzlies fan, I am waking up for the next 3 years in cold sweats every single morning because he said his favorite player is Russell Westbrook. Number 1, then they start putting it together. Ooh, he kind of looks like Westbrook. He can't really shoot a lot. He turns the ball over a lot. He's really athletic. Great. You know what that gets you? First-round playoff exit every single year. You don't want that. If that's what he is, you're screwed. That's not a good thing. Then let's break down Brandon Clark. What's so good about Brandon Clark? Well, he went to Gonzaga. Name the last player from Gonzaga, Chad, who was any good in the NBA. You can't name one. There is none. The list is 0. Well, let's think. Well, at least he's young. No, he's not. He'll be 23 by the first game next year. Oh, well, that's not good. Oh, well, maybe he can shoot. No, he shot 26% from three-point range. Yikes. Well, maybe he has good length, you know? Maybe he's long. Nope, bad wingspan. 6'8" wingspan, not good. Well, what position is he? Well, maybe he's a center. Well, how tall is he? He's like 6'8". What the is there to like about the guy? What's so good about him? I don't know. Well, you know what? He's a good athlete. Yeah, so is every single player in the NBA. I don't think he's any good. If you're Memphis today, I'm pissed. I don't like anything they did. To get the number 2 pick and you say, yeah, he's like Westbrook. That's not good. You say, oh, we got to steal the draft, Brandon Clark. Well, what does he do well? He's not a tall center. He's pretty good athlete.
Well, he's not a center. He's a forward.
That's winner.
He's not a center. He's a forward.
He can't shoot. How is he a forward? What's so good about him?
He's a 4.
Who's the last guy? Who's the last guy from Gonzaga that lit your balls off, Chad? Who's the last guy?
Oh, he'll be the first.
It's all happening.
It's all happening.
It's all happening.
Like that fucking tingles your balls, Memphis? That gets you excited? I thought they had a horrible night. I really did.
All right.
What's so good about him?
All right, picture this. John Morant gets a defensive rebound, takes it up the court, throws an alley-oop to Brandon Clark, and he jumps over 12 people to get to the rim.
What's going to happen once a year?
This
is a shooter's league. They got 2 guys who can't shoot. Wonderful.
That'll happen like 7 times a game. That's 14 points for you right there.
I mean, I didn't mind the Conley trade because this is basically the Clark thing is basically what you got for Conley. I didn't mind the Conley trade, but how are they going to be competitive? And next year they don't even have their pick. Next year their pick goes to Boston. Morant, Clark, and Jaren Jackson. That doesn't win you a title. What's so good about them?
They're picking number 2 this year. I don't think they're worried about winning a championship next year.
But that's the problem. You just say, "Oh, Memphis, they fucking did it. Memphis really won the draft." If they really won the draft, what's the upside here? If Memphis really won the draft? They got themselves a player who can contend for titles. Are we positive that Morant's that guy? Because the only guy that I see that is that guy is Zion. You're the first loser on Zion. That's what you were.
This is the foundation. They have 2 great defensive guys. How did Toronto win the championship this year? Yeah.
Oh, nice Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard playing out of his mind on offense and great defense. That's how they won. That's exactly how they won. Tell me I'm wrong.
So John Morant is Kawhi Leonard.
I'm not saying he's Kawhi Leonard. Maybe he could be. Maybe he can't. I'm just saying They got 2 defensive studs. They're setting the foundation. This is the beginning. You're just seeing the beginning of the process. To not Philly process, mind you, but you're seeing the start of what's going to happen in the future. That's what this did. This is what they started here will lead to wins later in the future. Will lead to them not being in the lottery every year.
All I'm saying is these Memphis guys got to cool off. And here's the worst part. Like, you ever hear this term, like, ooh, league pass team? Like, only the f***ing losers in the NBA say that shit. Like, can you imagine some Cincinnati Bengals fan and they're like, ooh, NFL Sunday ticket team for us, yeah! Like, nobody f***ing says that. Memphis is going to be horrible. They're going to win, like, between 25 and 35 games.
Yes,
league pass team, yeah! Who the f*** wants to watch that?
They're going to be terrible. I'm not disputing the fact that they are going to be terrible. No team goes from picking number 2 to winning the championship. Like, that's never happened before.
I get that. But I don't understand the NBA fanboys that are like, ooh, this is a league pass team. What? I don't know what the f*** that means. Like, can you imagine in the NFL, like, the Dolphins trade for Josh Rosen, and they're like, yeah, NFL Sunday ticket team. Yeah, they got my screens this week. Nobody says that as an NFL fan. But Memphis, league pass team. I'm watching them every night.
Whatever floats your boat, I say. So we got your first loser out of the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you like me to go again? Because this could basically lead back into you, too.
Yeah, might as well.
All right. Chad, I hate to do this to you. Let me say, I'm interested in telling the truth, Chad. I'm not biased. Everybody knows that. The Philadelphia 76ers. Chad, I root for you a lot, too. I root for your Eagles to do well. I thought this was a bad night for the Sixers. I really did. They trade up in the draft for Matisse Thybulle, who is a Washington forward. Now, the book on him is he's a good defender, but he can't really do anything else. So I saw little reports that came out today that said Boston knew that Philadelphia wanted him. So what they did is they took Thybulle and said, all right, now you have to come up and trade for him.
Pick up the phone and start dialing.
So, being Philadelphia, they did. They gave up a second-round pick, number 33, if I can remember. And that 33rd pick turned into Carson Edwards, who was the guy last week I said was perfect for Philadelphia, who should have been that spark plug off the bench and should have been that guy that what TJ McConnell did, he could do everything that TJ McConnell can't do, which is score, shoot, run the floor, play make, pretty much everything except the grittiness. That's the guy that Philadelphia needed. That's the guy they needed, and they didn't get him. Carson Edwards led the Big Ten in scoring. He was a second-team All-American. He scored 24 points a game. He lit up Virginia, scored 40-some points a game, who's always good defense. Led Purdue to the Elite Eight, and they are never an Elite Eight team. I thought this was a really good player and a guy that Philadelphia should have had. Not to mention, they also gave up second-round picks like they were candy. They gave up Admiral Schofield to the Wizards, who I really liked. I wanted the Celtics to pick him. I thought the 2 Tennessee guys, Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield, were very, very good. And then they gave up another second-round pick to the Hawks, Bruno Fernando. One of the second-round picks is for a future second-round pick, which you never know where that's going to be. And the other second-round pick went to clear Jonathan Simmons, who you had just traded for at the deadline. I didn't get it. I didn't understand anything that they were doing.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Only an idiot makes the same mistake twice. 2 years ago, the 76ers said, we have our hearts set on Markelle Fultz. He's the guy that's going to take us over the top. He was a Washington guard who lit up the Pac-12. 2 years later, they say, you know what? We want the Washington forward. Washington sucks. They're god-awful for a reason. Pac-12 basketball, nobody cares about unless it's Oregon. They're the only good team in that conference. I didn't understand a thing that they did. I really didn't. To go for another Washington guy after the way that Fultz thing turned out, this just has bad news written all over it.
I can see where you're coming from. I do disagree with you, though. I don't think Philadelphia was the worst team. No, I don't think they're the worst team. I don't think they're the second worst team. Okay. I think where they fell in this draft was right in the middle. Now, don't get me wrong. I need to see more. And I've matured in my old age. When I was a young man of 24, before the Eagles won the Super Bowl, with this draft, I would have been pissed off. I'm not going to lie. I'd have been like, Elton Brand needs to go. Get him out of here. What is he doing? I would have been terribly mad. But the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and I've learned to relax in certain areas of my sports fandom. I think there's a bigger plan in action here that we have not seen come to fruition yet. I think Elton Brand has a plan, and we're going to see that in free agency. We're going to see what happens in free agency. Could they have taken more guys? Yes. I think the reason why they wanted Matisse was one reason: defense. Let's be honest. If the Sixers beat Toronto, I think there's a very good chance that they maybe don't win, but could have gone to the finals.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Because who else took Toronto to 7 games in this playoffs?
Just Philly.
Just Philly. The Warriors, yeah, they went to 6, but was there any doubt that Toronto was winning that series up 3-1?
Well, once Klay Thompson went down, it was over.
Right. Well, that's true. But still, Thompson went down in game 3, right? No, he went down in game 4.
No, it was the final game, but it was like in the second half, the Warriors were up a little, and then once he went down, Toronto went on a run.
Right. I think even if Klay had not gone down, they win that game, I still think they lose game 7. But my point is what the Sixers need to do, they don't really need to add any young talent right now. They have young talent. What they need is to bring back the talent that they already have on the roster. That starts with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's going to want a max deal. Okay? Give Jimmy the max. Tobias Harris, don't know. He's a wild card in all this. But I think in order to have a shot at the finals next year, you need to bring back Tobias Harris. And you need all the money you can get. So, free up some cap space. And that's what they're doing. I think they have plans in free agency. I don't think they're using the draft because they don't need the build. They need guys now. And I think they're going to use free agency to do that. I've heard talks about them looking into contacting D'Angelo Russell. Kawhi came in for a meeting. I'm not saying they're getting Kawhi, but
It's not going to happen.
they're making moves, and it's not in this draft. It's in free agency. I'm not mad with what they did. I just think it was an average draft. Matisse Thybulle, I don't know how to say his last name.
Thibault, I believe.
Comparison, and I think you're gonna be surprised when I give you this comparison, and I'm saying that I don't mind the pick. He's Robert Covington.
Exactly. That's the name that I had in my head too.
Here's the thing. Here's why I hated Robert Covington. Robert Covington was a bench player who was a starter. I can't tell you how many times I watched Robert Covington go over in an NBA game. Over everything. Missed layups, missed three-pointers, wide open shots.
This guy can't shoot either.
He can't. No, no. I won't say that. He can hit an open 3. His role is going to be to sit on the bench and play defense when you need to sub out one of the starting 5. That's his role. That's all he's going to do. Is play defense. Maybe every once in a while take an open three. That's it. Play defense. Go get us the ball back so we can score more points, young man. That's all he's doing.
All right, I want to be able to counter this because I don't think Elton Brand has a plan. Maybe you're right. I don't see one. The thing that they have to do, because I do believe this was a factor, those four guys, Simmons, Embiid, Butler, and Harris, correct me if I'm wrong here, Chad, did not play together long enough.
Absolutely. They did not. They got 20 games, I think, at most.
They had maybe a 20-game sample together. That's not enough time to build chemistry on the floor. Not nearly enough time. That group needs to be better. And it should be better giving it more time. Which means they have to bring back Jimmy Butler. They have to bring back Tobias Harris. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I agree, but this move gives them the ability to do that.
Now, second-round picks do not count against the salary cap. They do not count. First-round picks do. Second-round picks do not. Philadelphia gave away 3 second-round picks that they could have filled out their bench. Because what they need more than anything, A, to bring back those guys. B, that bench f***ing sucks.
They are who we thought they were.
Mike Scott's horrible, who's a free agent. Boban, free agent. Chad, did you know they have currently 4 guys on the roster right now? 4. It's Simmons, Embiid, Jonah Bolden, and Zaire Smith. Now it's 5 with Thibault. Zaire Smith can't shoot. Jonah Bolden, I don't know what the fuck he is. You need a bench. And if the cap is going to Jimmy and Tobias, where are the bench pieces coming from? Because if you bring back Redick, now you're way over the cap. They needed those second-round picks to fill out the bench. They needed a guy like Carson Edwards to be a playmaking spark off the bench. They needed an Admiral Schofield who can bring some toughness and hit shots. They needed those guys. This was a huge mistake in my eyes. It really was.
I'm sticking by it. Elton Brand has a plan. We'll see what happens come October.
Okay. All right, so those are my 2. Because the easiest loser of all was Phoenix. I don't know what the they were doing. Real quick, just sum them up. They tried down from 6 to 11. Pick up Dario Saric in the trade, which I like Saric, but he's in a contract year, and knowing Phoenix, they'll probably match him because they're idiotic. Then they give away T.J. Warren's contract for no reason. Nobody's signing with Phoenix. I thought Warren had a decent contract, 3 years, $33 million. He's a good player. He can score. To give that away and a draft pick didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Then they draft Cam Johnson at 11, who 2 years ago was playing at Pittsburgh, transferred, playing at North Carolina. He's old. He's 24, and he can shoot but can't do anything else.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And then you give up a future first-round pick for Ty Jerome, who can't jump over a phone book. He's horrible. They had by far the worst draft, but that was too easy. I didn't want to do Phoenix because they're just a waste of time.
I wouldn't classify Ty Jerome as horrible. I think he's got talent. A
snail could beat him in a 40-yard dash.
Right. I mean, would I trade up and go after him? Probably not.
No.
Cameron Johnson, I like him as a player. Do I like him at 11? Hell no.
No.
Absolutely not. Because if you remember, the last show before the draft, I said that I could see the Sixers taking Cam Johnson.
At 24.
At 24. I would have been that. The pick they took, if they traded 11 back, I'd have been like, all right, take Cam Johnson. But, I mean, I guess they were like, we have Saric, so we need to use this pick. I don't know what they were thinking at all.
It's the Suns. Nobody knows what they're thinking.
I guess maybe they were like, hey, we just really wanted Saric, so whoever we take is, I guess, gravy at this point.
This is the same team that came out and said if they got the number 1 pick, they were taking Morant.
They still need a point guard.
All right, what do you got? I don't think you did any of your losers yet.
No, I didn't. And I was going to say, and you mentioned the Suns. I was going to say, I didn't want to choose the Suns just because it was too easy.
Yeah, me too.
And I mentioned with the Sixers, I don't think they're the worst or second worst team in the draft. I think, these teams, I don't think they're the worst either because obviously the Suns are. But for me, in my opinion, they're loser number 2 and loser number 3.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
My first loser, I have the Orlando Magic.
No.
I think their guy went, and they had no clue what to do. I think everyone knew they wanted Tyler Hero. He goes to the Heat 3 spots before 16. So they were like, I don't know. I guess they didn't have a backup plan. They just took a dartboard and threw it and hit the guy's name. It was like, all right, it, we're taking him. Tore his ACL last season at Auburn. I think he has first-round talent, but even then, it's definitely a reach at number 16. I think they could have traded down and taken the same guy 10 spots later, to be honest with you.
Isn't that the weird thing? How Bol falls to 45 because, he's hurt. This guy tore his ACL in the last game he played in. Like, during the NCAA tournament. He's probably going to miss the entire season. And Orlando's like, yeah, we'll take him at 16.
Yeah, I mean, numbers-wise, he's about 38% shooting three-pointers. 70% at the line somehow. I don't know how that works out. Average
decently
2.5
athletic.
steals and 1.7 blocks per 40 minutes as a sophomore. So, I mean, he's good defensively, but I don't know. That torn ACL, picking up a pretty big defensive guy, it scares me.
I never really saw a lottery pick when I watched him. Or I guess it's not a lottery, but I never saw an elite first-round talent when I watched him. So I would agree with you.
My second loser, I had to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Took Darius Garland at 5, Dylan Windler, and then Kevin Porter Jr. I'm not going to lie, I do kind of like the Kevin Porter Jr. pick. Don't like the fact that they traded for him, basically to get that pick, giving up 4 future second-rounders and cash considerations. When I think they could have just taken him with the 26th pick. I would have just done that. Because I don't know why Dylan Windler would blow you away enough to say, oh, we got to take this guy now and then trade back in to get Kevin Porter.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either.
Darius Garland at 5. I think that was another situation where, they just didn't have a plan. I got to think that Cleveland went into this like, hey, we're trading down from number 5 no matter what. They're on the clock. No one's getting a trade done. 10 seconds left on the clock, and they're like, just take somebody. And he was the first name they saw. He only played 5 games at Vanderbilt this season before knee injury sidelined him. Doesn't have great court vision. And he's a point guard. He has a negative assist to turnover ratio. Is going to struggle on defense. And they just took a point guard last year when they took Claxton. So I don't know how that's going to work out. Their second pick at 26, Windler, he shot 40% from 3 in college, but when they played good teams, because he went to Belmont, he struggled. His efficiency numbers tanked when they played good teams.
You suck.
So I don't know if he couldn't play against the best in college, how he's going to play against even the worst in the NBA.
He was horrible against Maryland in the NCAA tournament when I watched.
Right.
I would agree. I agree with you. I thought Cleveland was atrocious here. Number 1 to me, to go with another point guard after you draft Colin Sexton a year ago shows me you have no plan. What is the plan? You're going to play those 2 guys together? How's that going to work? And I know this is a little ridiculous, but after watching Garland's suit, what kind of suit was that? You gotta go look at his suit he was wearing. He's gotta be a bust based on his suit he was wearing. It looked like a night robe.
Yeah, I think Dylan Windler, I think that might be a guy you could have gotten as an undrafted free agent, to be honest with you.
That one blew my mind. Blew my mind.
I'm looking at their picks and I'm just like,
mention,
they had to have come into this draft and really not put a draft board together.
They gave up 4 future second-round picks for Kevin Porter. 4. That's a ton. And Cleveland sucks. That's an early second-round pick every year.
Yeah, again, I like his game, but just take him at 26. What are you doing?
Take him at 26, and there's no reason to give up the 4 2s.
Hey, that's my point. You could have got Windler. You could have got Windler as an unrestricted or undrafted free agent. Do you see a team in the draft taking him?
Maybe I don't know.
Someone takes a shot on him in the second. Maybe.
I don't know. I wasn't high on the guy.
I don't think anybody would have taken him, to be honest with you. I really don't. I really think he would not have been drafted. Look, again, I think we can agree the best players in college, unless they're Zion Williamson, the best players in college, in most cases, are going to be the worst players in the NBA. He struggled against them already. What's he going to do when he's playing elite players in the NBA? Just turn the ball over every time he looks at it?
That was a classic. That pick to me was a classic example of, we just got to have more shooters. Like, do anything you can to draft a shooter. It's now getting to the point where it's gone a little far.
That was a classic example of Cleveland sports teams, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you have any other quick hitters? I thought the Wizards I liked the Wizards pick. I just banged on Gonzaga, but I kind of liked Hachimura. He can put the ball in the hoop. And I liked their second round pick, Admiral Schofield. I was high on him.
Yeah, I think
the Pistons drafting the French guy. Never know with the overseas guys. I don't know. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not. But in this draft, there was a lot of bad names coming off the board, so I guess it was worth a shot.
Yeah, I'll let you know right now. One that I really liked in the first round was the Trailblazers at 25, taking Nasir Little. I think he flashed a lot. He flashed some decent ability in North Carolina. Again, he's just a guy that got buried on the depth chart with all the talent they had. But I mean, he came in as a potential top 3 pick, I think, in this draft when he entered college. But just uninspiring at North Carolina. He struggled to fit into their offense. But I think the potential's there.
I'll do a quick Celtics rant here, because after they picked Romeo Langford, I was ready to jump off a bridge. But they won me over a little bit, because I started looking at the other names on the board. This is a really fucking bad draft this year. It really was. Like, Chuma Okeke, 16. What's he do for you? I mean, this was a bad draft. PJ Washington at 12, really? That guy blows you away. Tyler Hero at 13. I can't remember a white guy being that good at 13. A lot of international names, which means the teams are really going for dart throws. Oklahoma City drafts a guy who refused to go to college. There were a lot of bad names. So when you take a shot on Romeo Langford, I didn't like the pick, but then I said, you know what? It's a free pick. They got it in the Jason Tatum deal. If he sucks, he sucks. If he's good, well, it was a free pick. Grant Williams at 22. was one of the 2 Tennessee guys I liked. Can't complain there. One of the biggest things about the NBA, you got to have an NBA ready-made body.
The platinum rule.
And a lot of these prospects never develop one. Grant Williams has that. 6'7" banger and can hit shots. Like that guy. And I already talked about Carson Edwards. I think he'll be a great spark plug off the bench. They drafted another point guard in the second round. Who knows if he's anything, but I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I think they did all right. And they also picked up a next year's first rounder from Phoenix, so can't hate it.
Yeah, I bring on free agency. That's all I got to say about the Sixers.
What's your wish list? Let's close it out there. You have a wish list for the 76ers. If you're running the team, what do you want?
I just want the starting 5 back. That's it.
Any bench pieces that blow your mind off?
No, to be honest with you, I don't know. I need the starting 5. That's all I want. Get me that. Fill in the roster however you please.
I've been doing some digging. I've talked myself into D'Angelo Russell and Nikola Vucevic. I'm talking Russell. I don't know what it'll cost you, but he'll be a restricted free agent. Vucevic, I don't know what he'll cost you either, but I'm hoping not that much. Sign him for a 1 or 2 year deal. Then you bring on starting 5 of Russell, Smart, Brown, Tatum, Vucevic. You sign a guy like Pat Beverly off the bench, Hayward off the bench, maybe Danny Green off the bench. Starting to like the team again.
We'll see.
All right, Chad.
As long as Matisse doesn't turn into an 0 for 20 guy like Robert Covington.
You just said that's who he is.
So again, that's how he plays, but that doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
That he has this. I should rephrase that. He has the same skill set as Robert Covington. That doesn't mean he's going to be as terrible as Robert Covington. Does that make sense? Robert Covington was bad because he was a bench player. He was a role player that thought he was the next coming of Steph Curry. That's why Robert Covington was bad. I can't tell you how many times. Oh, we got a defensive rebound. We're on a fast break. Robert Covington taking a runner from the corner while he's covered.
That's my point about Durant. Or that's my point about Morant. If this guy thinks that the way Russell Westbrook is a good playing style, you're fucked, Memphis. It's over for you. You're screwed. 10 years. You might as well throw it away.
Hey, he said that's his favorite player, not that's how he plays the game. He's going to be a good player.
We'll see. By the way, these people are way too high on the NBA draft players. I'm just telling them, are you positive that RJ Barrett is an all-star? Are you positive? I'm not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Are you ever positive? The only guy you can be positive with is Zion Williamson.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do? Just abstain from the draft because you don't get Zion? What are you going to do, Trey?
No, I'm just saying a lot of these fans are freaking out today about we won the draft. Memphis is freaking out about Brandon Clark, who can't do anything. I mean, even Knicks fans, we got RJ Barrett. I watched a lot of Duke last year. There were a lot of times that I sat there and thought, I don't know if he can be as good as DeMar DeRozan. I don't even like DeMar DeRozan.
I mean, it's all a guessing game. Again, unless you're Zion Williamson, nothing's guaranteed.
Alrighty. Fair point.
Anything else, Trey?
Nope.
Alright, well, thanks for giving us a listen. Don't forget to give us a follow as well and a like on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook, vendettasportsmedia.com. On Twitter, vendetta_media. Check out both me and Trey. Give us a follow on Twitter. I'm at lowfooted, LILFOOTED. Follow Trey at Trey Daubert, TREYDAUBERT. Again, thanks for giving us a listen, and we'll see you next week.